Day by day, wild boars grow increasingly ferocious. They brazenly tear through fertile fields, pollute clean water sources, and severely disrupt the lives of local people. A relentless battle between hunters and these monstrous beasts has erupted to restore the balance between humanity and nature. Will this struggle be enough to halt the destructive rampage of these savage creatures? Join me for the heart-pounding moments that follow. Today's opening act is a tense showdown between John and a massive wild boar. From his hiding spot, John spotted the beast's silhouette approaching. Swiftly assuming a ready stance, he waited for it to draw closer before pulling the trigger. Before the boar could turn and flee, a rapid succession of shots rang out, felling the monstrous creature instantly. A swift and precise strike, kicking off today's ambush. On the hillside, a wild boar lumbered through dry bushes, unable to escape the marksman's scope. Tracking the target's movement, he swiftly fired a shot. The threat was neutralized in the blink of an eye, before the beast could even comprehend what was happening. Another triumph was quickly etched into the team's journey. The barking of hunting dogs echoed from the dense thicket, prompting John to advance immediately. Right in front of him, an entire herd of wild boars suddenly appeared. Unfazed, he pulled the trigger the moment the lead boar charged forward. A decisive shot rang out, felling the largest beast, though the rest managed to evade the next bullet. One precise shot had swiftly thwarted the aggressive intentions of the ferocious herd.
Güzel kamera çektik diye düşünüyorum. Bir de domuzu vurduk.
Leaving the dense thickets behind for the Frigid Mountains, another hunting team was already in place, splitting up to track the ferocious beasts. At that moment, Leon was following faint traces in the snow. There it was, a wild boar hiding beneath the thicket. Without delay, he took action, and a resounding shot rang out. Before it could react, the beast lay collapsed in the white snow, with no chance of escape. On the eastern hillside, the threat was swiftly neutralized. While scanning the terrain, a wild boar heading towards its shelter came into the binoculars' view. Seizing the moment, the marksman tracked the beast's movements and fired. The bullet flew with precision, striking the animal's body, causing it to collapse onto the white snow. Another danger was eliminated before it could cause further harm. Deep within the forest, another wild boar has been brought down. The moment the hunter spotted the boar's silhouette, he assumed a ready stance. Without hesitation, a single decisive shot felled the beast in an instant. This put a complete stop to the destruction caused by its sharp hooves on this land. We can't stand by and watch the crops be destroyed. Tonight marks the end. As darkness blankets the fields, the wild boars emerge from their hiding places, slinking through the dense forest in search of food. With their razor-sharp tusks, they uproot the soil, devastate crops, and cause millions of dollars in damage to farmers. Tonight, fearless hunters are ready to confront and stop these savage beasts. Will they have the courage to halt the rampage of these wild creatures? Join us for the thrilling moments ahead, and don't forget to pick the shot that impresses you the most. The moon rose high, and darkness gradually enveloped the vast fields. Thomas and his team were in position, fully prepared to confront the savage beasts. The team quickly spread out, surrounding the field, determined to reclaim the land that had been ravaged by the creatures for many nights. Not long after, the first gunshot rang out from Jack's position. Through his infrared binoculars, he swiftly spotted a wild boar grazing intently. Not letting it continue its destruction, he pulled the trigger. The beast collapsed instantly, its rampage brought to an end. From other positions, gunshots echoed one after another, cutting off all escape routes. A precise and flawless opening strike set the stage for a thrilling night hunt. At the edge of the field, a herd of wild boars was gathering. beginning their destructive rampage. One of the team's shooters, upon spotting them, quickly selected a suitable position and angle. Gunshots rang out in rapid succession, taking down two of the largest and fattest boars in the herd. But the remaining ones bolted, disappearing into the darkness. Receiving the signal, Thomas and his teammates moved to the location using the GPS. Through his binoculars, he spotted a herd of wild boars busily foraging. With everything prepared, Thomas swiftly took action to stop the beasts from further destruction. A barrage of bullets flew, taking down one boar after another. The field was now littered with the carcasses of the wild boars. Thomas's team had secured the safety of the field, at least for tonight. Night hunting is already a challenge, but hunting in a freezing snow-covered forest is exponentially harsher. Despite this, Nick's hunting team fearlessly ventured deep into the snowy forest to track the wild boars hiding within. After a tense wait, Nick's teammates spotted the boar herd silently emerging from the underbrush. Without hesitation, he opened fire. The rapid gunshots echoed, swiftly taking down the lead boar. However, the remaining boars reacted with lightning speed, retreating back into the dense thickets. The team swiftly dispersed, tracking the faint traces left by the wild boar herd. After 15 minutes of searching, Nick spotted a lone boar breaking away, charging across the snow-covered hillside. A gunshot rang out instantly, and the boar collapsed, completely unaware of what had struck it. On the other side of the snowy forest, a shooter in the team quickly spotted a wild boar hiding beneath snow-laden branches. Choosing the optimal position and angle, he promptly pulled the trigger. The bullet rang out decisively, and the boar collapsed onto the white snow. Another threat was eliminated.
Y a rien, tire pas.
Shortly after, the other hunters took down the remaining targets one by one. All escape routes were sealed. The destructive beasts had no chance to cause further damage. Today's journey comes to a close here. Each tense trigger pull, from the white snow to the black night, helped erase the fears of the local people.
Magnifique.
Magnifique. On the journey tracking wild boars along the Mediterranean region, the first stop is Kalsrala Hill, a land heavily ravaged by beasts hiding in the thickets, causing damage worth millions of dollars. Leading the hunting team is Thomas, a man famed for his ability to take down wild boars with a single bullet. The sky hasn't fully brightened yet. A light mist still clings to the hillside, but his team is already in position. The hunting dogs sniff through each patch of grass, weaving through dense trees to search for any remaining traces. Thomas rushes toward the sound. Then, from within the thick bushes, that familiar dark figure appears, frantically trying to flee. Without hesitation, Thomas steadies his rifle, waits for it to fully reveal itself, then pulls the trigger. A perfect shot galore, a heavy boar collapses on the spot. A decisive shot, glorious achievement. And the hunting team has saved Kalsrala from being torn apart by the claws and tusks of these destructive beasts. Lucky led a small team, driving rugged off-road vehicles through winding trails deep into the thick forest. As soon as they arrived, they spread out to track signs of their prey. While Lucky was closing in on a suspicious area, a gunshot suddenly rang out from a teammate. Just moments later, a familiar dark figure darted past. He gripped his rifle tightly, calmly holding the load. A series of shots rang out in quick succession, each one tracing the creature's every step until it finally collapsed on the cold forest floor. If it were you, would you stay calm in a life or death situation like that? Respect to Lucky in that moment. He was more than a hunter. He was a cold-blooded warrior in the depths of the Frank wilderness. Continuing our journey from the vast Campine forest, we headed southeast into the rugged terrain of southern Italy, Calabria, where wild boars exploit the mountainous landscape to hide and continue wreaking havoc on crops. At 6 a.m., Johnny's team, led by Thomas's trusted comrade, arrived and quietly spread out, blending into the terrain while waiting for the right moment. As he observed the opposite hillside, Johnny suddenly spotted a lone wild boar, casually foraging, completely unaware it had stepped in the crosshairs. Calmly, he chambered round, steadied his aim, and pulled the trigger. A clean, sharp shot rang out. The boar dropped instantly. For Johnny, there was no need for a chase or struggle. Just one well-timed decision was enough to make the beast fall before man. This time, Cade's team came fully prepared, armed with every tool and a fierce determination to put an end to the beast's destruction. They didn't choose open clearings or easy vantage points. Instead, they moved silently into the heart of the forest, where thick trunks and tangled branches form a natural maze of traps. And just as they had anticipated, within minutes, a shadowy figure began to emerge in the distance. As the boar crept closer, a clean shot rang out. It dropped instantly, without a chance to react. Buck's team, accompanied by a pack of seasoned hunting dogs, was combing through thick brush, hot on the trail of wild boars. After 30 minutes of tracking, a thunderous burst of barking erupted near the grassy forest edge. The dogs had found their target, a massive beast weighing nearly 400 pounds. Sensing a brief opening, the monstrous boar broke from the encirclement, charging through the trees like a storm. But it was too late. With a creature of that size, even one escape could mean the destruction of an entire field. The wild boar population in California is growing out of control. They destroy the land, ruin crops, and even pose a threat to farmers. The area of destruction keeps expanding. At this moment, hunters must take action to restore balance to the lives of the farmers here. So how will this hunt begin? And is there any danger awaiting the hunters? Wild boars are not easy prey. They can run up to 40 miles per hour, are stubborn, intelligent, and extremely alert. When cornered, they don't just flee, they can turn around and attack. For hunters, even a single moment of hesitation can come at the cost of blood. After we split up to search for signs of the prey, a sudden burst of movement came from the bushes. A whole herd of wild boars charged out, running right across my path. Without thinking, I raised my gun, took a quick aim, and pulled the trigger. One of the boars in the herd dropped instantly. The others, however, dashed away at full speed, escaping before I could reload. I moved to another position, and while tracking signs of the prey, I suddenly heard a rustling sound nearby. I immediately raised my gun and took careful aim. At another location, I heard the hunting dogs barking loudly. While scanning the surroundings, I spotted a dark figure moving in the bushes not far from me. I raised my gun and waited for the right moment. It was charging closer. I pulled the trigger. The first shot missed. It came even nearer. The second shot hit. The boar collapsed, landing just a few meters away from me. If I hadn't stayed calm at that moment, I might have paid a heavy price. It was dangerously close. Waiting in position, I saw a large boar weaving between the trees, trying to escape. Boom! The gunshot rang out, the bullet struck the wild boar's body. In another spot, Jake was already waiting at the trail exit. He stood with his rifle in hand, ready, just waiting for the prey to appear. And then a wild boar came charging forward, but the moment it spotted him, it changed direction to flee. Jake quickly pulled the trigger, giving it no chance to escape. He walked over to check, then signaled the others. 6. Night was falling. Hearing the loud barking of the hunting dogs, I moved closer. Suddenly, a wild boar burst out from the grass, charging straight at me. I stepped back while raising my rifle, pulling the trigger just as it lunged. The gunshot echoed, followed by its roar, and it collapsed on the spot. Had I been just 1 second slower, I might not be here to tell the story. Have you ever heard stories about hunting giant monsters with a bow and arrow? Well, that monster is none other than the fierce wild boars. They brazenly destroy our crops, uproot the forest soil, and cause great harm to our people. Today, we will enter a tough battle using bows and arrows to confront these dangerous invaders. At 4 p.m., we gathered at the edge of the forest to begin tracking the wild boars. We moved toward an automatic feed dispenser that had been set up earlier. We deliberately placed the device in a small puddle to increase its appeal to the wild boars. As predicted, the wild boars appeared, drawn by the strong scent. They busily picked up each piece of food, paying no attention to the lurking danger. From afar, I slowly raised my bow and drew the string. 3, 2, 1, shoot. The bowstring stretched to its limit. The steel-tipped arrow sliced through the air and struck the target. A perfect shot. The wild boar let out a single painful scream. However, it did not immediately fall, but instead panicked and charged forward. Still, we knew well, with that fatal wound, it would soon collapse. Unable to resist the enticing smell of the corn kernels, another herd of boars approached the feeding machine. Without rushing, I calmly took careful aim. After the wild boar had completely let down its guard, I quickly released the string, shooting an arrow toward the outermost boar. The arrow flew swiftly and struck one boar, bringing it down to the ground. A precise, clean shot, as if perfectly calculated in advance. In another spot, perched quietly on a tall stand in the forest, Henry watched a group of wild boars. They were busy searching for food, unaware that we had been waiting for them all along. Then released. The arrow flew and struck the boar, causing it to immediately flee. But we didn't chase right away, knowing the wound would soon bring it down. Deeper into the forest, we encountered a massive male boar. In a tense moment, another arrow was released, striking directly at the boar's vital spot. It staggered, took a few final steps, then collapsed onto the ground. The next afternoon, we continued the hunt. Following the tracks left on the ground, we discovered a strong wild boar weighing about 80 kilograms, casually digging for food. It was completely unaware of our presence. This was the chance. My friend's hand gripped the bow tightly. The bowstring was drawn taut, waiting for the perfect moment. Every tense second stretched endlessly. Shoot! And then, after those anxious moments, the final prey finally fell. We continued by choosing a tall tree trunk that both concealed our presence and provided an ideal vantage point for observation.
Again, a couple of them.
In the puddle ahead, food had been spread out, acting as a perfect trap to lure greedy wild boars. Once everything was in place, all that remained was to wait for the right moment. I quietly raised my bow, aiming directly at the strong boar in front. Drawing the string taut with full force, I released. A shot to the vital spot would bring it down soon enough. I drew the bowstring, locked my eyes on the target, then released. But no, I missed once again.
Shooting through the cactus.
There is no place for haste. Only patience, practice, and calmness lead to success. And I know I must try harder to win in the upcoming hunts. Thank you all for following this journey.